What's up, y'all? This is Henny, and man, today I'm telling you about to have fun with today. So, I've had this iPhone 11 Pro for a few days now, and before that, I had the epiphany that I think you can really create professional music just on the iPhone. I've showed you the iPad for years, but how far can you take the iPhone when you really want to go somewhat from start to finish? That's what we're going to do today using apps like this. We're going to get into it. I'm going to be creating from scratch, and we're going to go straight like we used to, building beats on the fly. You know how we do, like we always do about this time. Let's go!
The business.
Let's do this. Effects. Bass. Boom. 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 Synth bass. Boom. Yo. This is why I love this app so much. Yo, so this is the Koala Sampler app. This is one of the funnest apps I've used in a long time when it comes to just getting ideas, getting some fun things going. And when you think about it from a professional standpoint, a lot of times you can use your professional devices, your professional peripherals, all the things that you have, but sometimes they're not there with you. And when you have an app that's so simple to use and so easily getting dope ideas and be able to export them the way that you need to, I mean, there's nothing more to be said. If you look at an app like this, what I just showed you is me sampling my voice, me importing other drum samples to stack on top of that, sequencing that with quantization on, quantization off, making a bass line from my mouth, transforming that bass line into keys, and performing it using some of its built-in effects. When I tell you can do all of this and then still export in everything from the samples that you just created to the current loop, to export all the loops that you've made, or even export it to Ableton and an Ableton live set. But this is just the beginning. This is the Koala app. This is what I've been using to really create some dope things. Let me keep going. So with this app, I've been able to really create ideas, cool ideas, drum ideas on the fly. I took a lot of samples from my iPad, drum samples, loops, those types of things, brought it into Audio Share, and I'm able to import it into this app to create some cool things. Now, take for instance this drum loop that I created. Added this, I got this loop, right? I recorded that in. I put a little gate on it, some filter, a little pitch shift, and I add a little dirty. It really kind of gives it some grit at the bottom, right? But the big thing is, instead of using something like Beatmaker 3 or something like Cubasis 2, which are obviously for bigger, screens, that's why it's not available on something like the iPhone yet. I had to think outside the box and said, okay, if I wanted to take these things a step further, in a more professional manner, but still do it on my phone, what app can I use to bring all of these things together? Because of course you can still use apps like Blocs Wave, apps like, Moog's Model D, piano apps, of course, audio kits, FM Player 2, all of these things that I love to use, you can still use as AUV3 plugins, and I needed to find an app that could bring all that in. And of course, I've had an app for a while, and I never really got into it until a few weeks ago, about a month ago, and this is the app called AUM. So I got this loop. I'm gonna have it say that's Koala. I'm gonna go here, go to AUM. Now with AUM, if you're not familiar with this app, it literally is it's an extreme mixer slash digital mixer slash it's hard to put in words all the things that it can do, but I mean it can mix all of your your plugins, all of your live inputs, all of the sampling, and all the things that you can do from different apps. It can be combined all in this one app, and it's very intuitive the way that it works. So as you can see, you load up the screen, hit the plus sign, it gives you audio, MIDI, or import. Let me hit audio, it gives you a channel. I hit this, right? I'm going to do an inter-app audio and use the Koala sampler. Now, the fact that everything is synced up using Ableton Link makes it very easy to sync the tempo across all the different apps that I'm going to be using. So let me set this back. I think the tempo was 135. Now, if I hit the play button, that's the loop that I'm playing from Koala. But I can take that and bring it and beef it up a little bit. Let me add, let's see here. Let's add the fact transient, maybe load in the punch on drums, and let me push this line up a little bit. Add another effect. Let me add the good old low fly dirt. Give it a little extra crunch there. And let's try adding Rough Rider 2 from Audio Damage and play with it and see what we can get. got Blocs Wave going on top of the Koala app. And if you can see right here, my DSP is only at 16% on this new iPad Pro. So let me add some more. Let me see here. Adverb. So now let me add a bass line. Bring in Model D. Maybe do this bass. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you that you can continuously build on top of things over and over in this app, which is awesome. So the fact that I brought in another AUV3 instrument and I needed to record the MIDI in, I'm gonna need a MIDI recorder. So it gets kind of like, you might think it's a little tricky, but when you get the workflow going, it works very seamless. So I'm gonna go over again, I'm gonna hit the plus button, hit MIDI, and now I have this program called Atom Piano Roller. So I have it set to about a 2-bar loop. What I'm gonna do is make sure that is looking for this built-in keyboard, and I'm gonna go back to Model D, and I'm just gonna make sure that is looking for the roll. So if I hit this, okay. So if I go in here, I can easily turn it over. Simple, right? But you can get it crazy, right? I'm gonna put let's put the fuzz on it. Whew. Okay, it's a little fast. Hold on. Dope thing about Koala Sampler, you can have multiple different little sequences that you have going on, things, ideas that you can, want to mix together. As long as you have the same amount of bars, you can mix them together. So I had that first drum loop and I just did this new hi-hat pattern. And literally if I just drag it on top, it'll ask if I want to mix or add to the end of that sequence. So if I hit mix, I'll go ahead and show you what that sounds like. I've already done it, but let me show you. Here we go. With all that said, you can literally continuously build, whether you're building audio pieces, whether you're bringing in audio from something like, like whether you're bringing something like this Apogee Jam to bring in your guitarist or bring in, your bass guys, you can record it directly into here. You can use something like this, your Apogee Hype mic, bring in vocals, being able to record on the fly. And also, what's really cool is the fact that you can create mix buses to be able to kind of mix it together or have them separate still. So I have this track, right? It's simple, right? Very simple, but it has a bass line, it has the Blocs Wave melodies, and it has the Koala Sampler drums, right? So if I hit here and swipe over and create a mix bus, let's do mix bus A, right? What I'll do now is send all these channels to mix bus A, send their audio to mix bus A. Let me see, mix bus A, sending that to mix bus A, hit that, sending that to mix bus A. And now you see that all the files should be playing through this channel. Now, if I go ahead and select record on every channel, five, six, well, I'll wait till the loop. Here we go. And I'm gonna record all of them. Now what this is doing right now, it's recording every audio individually as well as recording it together. Now that I've recorded that, and it records directly into AudioShare because AUM and AudioShare are made by the same amazing developer. So let me show you. I go back into AudioShare. If I go and look in AUM recordings, something from today, you'll see I have 4 channels. You have this, right? You have this, right? And they already have their effects on them. Everything individual and together. Now, as simple as that process was, it can get so much more intricate, especially with AUM. And there's a ton of videos on AUM, so make sure you check out, the Sound Test Room, Yoakum Hawk, Audio Dabbler. A lot of these guys out there, they've been showing how to use this app for years. I just couldn't figure out the way to get into it until now. And one of the awesome things about an app like AUM from a professional standpoint is the way you can just build your track out. And the way these AUV3 plugins are becoming more and more robust. You got people like Elliot's Garage doing something like the EG Pulse Sampler, and some of these other AUV3 plugins that are doing sequencing inside the plugin instead of having a DAW. You're now starting to realize that being more modular, being able to have different pieces do different things instead of a DAW do everything at the same time, it makes it very easy to take this into another professional environment like Pro Tools in a studio, working with songwriters, producers, musicians alike, and still be able to handle this from a phone. Like, this is ridiculous, right? That's literally been my mindset. I truly believe creating great ideas on a platform like the iPhone Pro, especially with this power. Like, I keep loading this in. If I wanted to, I could plug in something like my CME X-Key Air, but at that point, it starts to defeat the purpose of being super mobile, because if I can take this with me, I can definitely take an iPad. Let's be real. But if all you had was an iPhone and you didn't have the capabilities to have an iPhone and an iPad, you'll start to see that you can really get some things done. Now, of course, I'm using the latest iPhone Pro, and the processing speed is very great. I can load, instance after instance of things, and I don't see my DSP spike very much. I don't think I've seen it spike more than 60%, and that's doing a whole lot of plugins being able to really get things going on the iPhone using AUM and some of these other plugins. So, what we're seeing right now is the future. The last 5 years, I've been talking tremendously about the iPad and all its capabilities, and it's only going to get better. But there are going to be times when you don't have that with you. And if the idea sparks and you really want to get something out, or say, for instance, you got the opportunity to go to a studio, to a session, and all you have is your phone, and you don't have time to go back home or go back to school or wherever to get all your stuff, can you still create with that opportunity right there? And that's why I'm looking at, things like the iPhone to be professional when it comes to doing music production. So this iPhone Pro, it's killer. But I was doing all of this on my iPhone XR a month ago. Now, I wasn't being able to get as much power, but for the same, this has the A12, that had the A13. I wasn't seeing that much of a difference in performance. It's still handling things very, very well. And so if you have an iPhone from a few years back, if you have the latest iPhone, you'll be able to do quite a bit. It's just going to be more into like how many instances you can have these plugins and all these things running. Using something like Koala Sampler, it's an amazing tool. If the developer watches this video, I'm hoping that we can get little things like maybe a mute or solo feature on each tab, on each drum sample. That way, if you wanted to solo and export that loop out, you can export them individually and those samples in the sequence very easily, or just some other things. I'd love to see that. The AUM, I'd love to see, a built-in sampler in there, a built-in thing to make it even easier to not have to use third parties and have something somewhat built in there. But I mean, the way these developers, are putting out all of this amazing content, all these amazing apps, man, it just becomes more and more professional. So that's that. That's what I've been doing for the last month and trying this out, and it's been an amazing experience. And yes, I will link all the apps that I've been using with the iPhone in the description below. But let me know what y'all think about that. Let me know how, if you would even consider start making records and doing things just from the phone. I know the screen real estate isn't as big as an iPad, but I look at these kids that might only have one device, and some of them might just have a phone. Some of them might just have, something small like this. How possible is it to start to really get into a place where you can go and be professional? Or if for all of us out there who just are on the go so much, and sometimes we just don't have that time to carry our phone with us, to carry our iPad with us, and, you can do this, man. That's what this thing's all about, being able to get your ideas going at any given time. And I promise you, you do not want to have an opportunity and not be prepared. So, the Eagle Scout in me is always going to tell you, be prepared. Yeah, that's it for today. More coming on this iPhone 11 Pro and all the things that you can do professionally with it. Catch y'all in the next one. Hit 'em out!